Alrighty, welcome to episode 246 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has announced the impending cancellation of its flagship Model S and X vehicle production programs, with final deliveries taking place in Q2. SpaceX has announced its acquisition of xAI. It has described this union as, quote, forming the most ambitious, vertically integrated innovation engine on and off Earth, with AI, rockets, space-based internet, direct-to-mobile device communications, and the world's foremost real-time information and free speech platform. And that was this week's news. And once again, welcome everyone to the program. We'll actually get to some of that bit of news because there's a lot to unpack there, but we'll do that a little bit later on. As is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later on. Um, okay, so I could have actually appended the obvious sentence that followed the xAI takeover by SpaceX and say, of course, the rumor mill is running white hot with speculation that perhaps Tesla may merge with this new SpaceX AI entity and all the different things that that might mean, which we could always get into a bit more depth towards the latter part of the program because it certainly makes a difference to us Tesla shareholders. And obviously, it's of less importance to Australia because we haven't seen the Model S and X since about 2021, I think it was. Um, they finally killed it off. Elon Musk always did refer to it as they were continuing to make it more for sentimental reasons than anything else. And finally, the cold hard logic of economics has said that the real estate at the Fremont factory is actually more valuable to make a million uh, Optimus robots uh, and all of the money that that can entail, as opposed to a mere 50,000 combined S and X. So Vale S and X, but we can't buy any examples of it in any case, so it really doesn't matter. All right. Does anyone want to start off with a question or comment?
I got a question there, Harold.
Yes, Cameron.
So I've been given a Juniper for the week. I'm getting some repairs done to my Model Y. When you're in it's got enhanced autopilot, not full FSD. When you're going
Yes.
through like a speed zone and it's 80 and it goes back to 100, what's the confirm to go back to 100? Or do I just have to select on the screen or just scroll up on the wheel? Is there a button?
Okay, so you can scroll up on the wheel.
Like in
You
mine, I
you
just I just like hold down the right stick for 3 seconds
yeah,
and
that's right.
yeah.
So that's gone.
Ah,
So you're
yeah,
learning
right.
the hard example of um, Elon Musk is insistent on always his core belief is that the best part is no part at all, and you've got to keep removing parts
I,
until you are forced to put perhaps 10% of them back, and that means you're getting the removal rate just about right. That was evidenced by the fact that the Juniper Model Y, unlike the Highland Model 3, does have a left indicator stalk,
yeah.
whereas the Highland has the just the buttons. So there's two ways you can do it. The scroll wheel, as you said.
Or
Another
tap
way
on the
is to
screen.
to click out of autopilot and then click back in,
Yeah, I
or
worked that
you
out as
can
well.
tap the new speed limit value on the screen. So
Yeah,
if you tap on that, that will then take the tack or the autopilot to that value.
very good.
But yeah, if you want to punish yourself and see just how different the Highland is, if you're driving at night time and you've got automatic high beams on, the only way to turn them off, if you wanted to, is to actually tap on the high beam button, which actually brings it on for a brief flash before it turns
Yeah.
off. But if you
Yeah, I
then
worked
want to
that out.
turn the high beams back on, automatic high
Press and hold.
beams, you've got to press and hold for about a third of a second, in which case, if there was a car coming the other way, you're but partially blinding it.
Yep.
And yes,
Because in the overtaken lanes, I had like a couple of semis coming the other way, and they were flashing me, and I'm like, yeah, they're a fair ways out, so they must be pretty bright. And I worked out that just a little tap drops it, and then I was like, well, I kept tapping it to try and bring it back, but it wasn't. So I press and hold. Oh yeah, that's how it works.
yeah, exactly. And I will, I'll just bring up because on my FSD lap, I had a lot of time to play with the high beams and all that sort of stuff. And on the second lap, when the high beams worked properly, or when the lights were properly adjusted with the software update, I'll just bring it up, and I'll put it in the chat. So if anyone wants to sort of see the video, it basically goes through exactly that process of a car coming the other way. I thought it was a truck because it had high beams, but as it turns out, it was actually just a car towing a boat, and I had to do exactly that. Do a brief flash to turn it off, which was fine because in the bush the problem is, so with trucks, a truck will be coming your way with their high beams blaring on, and once you get to a certain threshold, it will the automatic high beams will engage, and that's great. So it suppresses high beams on your car. But as the truck on its high beams gets closer and closer, there'll be a period in time whereby the truck will suppress their very bright high beams to be, a good road user. But then your automatic high beams won't perceive that truck as being anywhere near or near as it actually is, and it will then bring your high beams, automatic high beams, back on. Or not automatic high beams. It'll raise the beams or paint that section of the truck with high beam, which
And
of
then all
course
of a
is
sudden you can see their high vis driving along.
yeah, and then you can yeah that's right, and then the truck may get annoyed and then flash you briefly
Yep.
to tell you, but the only way you can suppress high beam is even if it did suppress or whatever, is to momentarily tap the high beam button, and then you get to this case where the truck is clearly almost at you can see the whites of their eyes, and you really do want the high automatic high beams to be back on because you know it'll work properly, and you want to better see things on the side of the road such as kangaroos and other things. But the only way to do it is you've got to press and hold the high beam on and force it on for a third of a second before it engages. So again, you're on a lose-lose situation.
Do you feel as though the automatic high beams are more chunkier than the old ones?
It's totally different. So the
Because
the
like
Juniper
my
is more accurate. It's actually
yeah,
it's a tighter setup. It's actually better. But unfortunately, you know, Tesla has taught us that removing that the high beam stalk was actually very useful because it
mm,
had two axes. It actually had three controls. It had a forward towards you, which was like a manual on, like that was to flick someone to warn them.
yep,
And then it
yep,
had the push away, which was to,
low beam.
and the center position, which was either to enable it to operate or disable it from operating. And that's something that a single button can't really replicate. There is a solution. I'm trying to think what it is now. It's to do with timing. There is a way of doing it. I'd have to rethink it because I've forgotten how it went. But
Or, or you
there's
get
a simple setup where you just have on the very first pulse, it actually enables it. No, sorry, it doesn't enable it. It waits until that pulse is a certain length, and if it is, then it will re-engage high beams. What it means is if you quickly pulse someone, sorry, when
I
you want to send a warning to someone, you'll often give them three flashes. You'll do like a flash, 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 or a flash,
yep,
flash. Now, If you use my system, what'll basically happen is you'll miss that first flash because the idea of suppressing the high beams on the first flash or the first press is to see if it's a long press. If it's a long press and you release, then the high beam never came on and is now back into automatic high beam mode. What you lose is if you wanted to give a warning flash, if you give a quick blip, the lights won't come on. But if you give a successive blip, and of course the car software can count, I've had a blip for a fraction of a second, a short relief, and then another blip. It can then safely turn the high beams on that second short blip. So what it means is if you give a 3 blip message, only 2 blips will come out. Most people will never notice and it won't matter. It doesn't affect the safety of the car. Whereas suppressing that first blip when it's a long one does enhance the safety because it means you're not jamming your high beam on just to reactivate them.
Mm.
Because the fact is we do have to suppress auto high beams in the bush when you're facing trucks because the system is not good enough. The camera system and the hardware 4 or hardware 5 coming up isn't good enough to actually properly determine that there is a driver coming your way that it should suppress properly. That's a very long way of saying a very short concept, but yeah, good luck with you'll probably
Yeah, no, I
be
enjoy
glad you've
it.
got your older version
Oh no,
for now.
yeah,
Or
I am enjoying it till the weekend.
yes. But things change. There's a few other things Tesla could do. One thing it could do is most high beam is a problem mostly when cars are directly in front of you, not so much off to the side, like on a off axis.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there could be a setting whereby you could touch a screen. Actually, the other thing too is you always see your low beam, high beam. There's a low beam, high beam that's got an indicator, a light that shows on your touch screen. If
Yeah.
you could simply go and touch the touch screen to re-enable or disable auto high beams, that could be useful as well. Not perfect, but better than using the button. Because when you touch the touch screen, it doesn't have to bring the high beam on
Mm.
when it's suppressing it. So there's lots of ways you can sort of skin a cat. And you could also maybe just have some sort of method whereby if it sees bright lights and it's enabled high beam and you've told it to suppress and those lights get dimmer, but they're still basically the same lights, it should remember that and then sort of as it comes closer, just re-enable high beams and suppress, paint out that pair of lights with a black pixel.
What
Uh,
about a commander button or the sexy button, as they call
yeah, but that's all. Again, that's
them,
it's all
aftermarket?
off-label, and yeah, that's right. It's again, Tesla is not in favor of adding things. It wants to delete things. But if you add something to the touchscreen, you get that for free. It's not a hardware cost. And Tesla is steadily adding more and more functions. In the old days, the menu items were quite brief. Now they're getting longer and longer as Tesla just has to keep adding more and more features. I mean, for example, if you want to keep your fridge in your car on, if you've got a 12-volt fridge, you go into the charger menu and there's a checkbox that says keep low voltage power on. And that was an option that only occurred last 6 months. So there is a lot of feature creep in Tesla's software. It's just that they're very fond of deleting hardware elements to save a bit of money. Alrighty. Anyone else got any questions or comments?
I've got a tip. Actually,
Yes,
probably
Alex.
won't help any of you because you've already got it all sorted. But if you've got any friends who get a new car, so yeah, basically, if they have issues connecting to their Wi-Fi, ask them to check what the local IP of their network is. So I got my new car, Juniper, and I'm trying to hook it up. It would connect to my hotspot just fine, but having issues connecting it to my home Wi-Fi. And the error message wasn't as descriptive as most of the other Tesla error messages. So I think it was along the lines of unable to connect or could not connect, check firewall settings, etc. And I happened to find a very helpful post on one of the Tesla forums, and basically it seems like there's some level of incompatibility with if your home network is on 192.168.20 dot whatever IP
Ah,
address after that. So as soon as I changed that on my router, everything was fine. Um, but yeah, just a handy trick for
yeah, right.
help.
Actually, speaking of IP addresses, I know, for example, 192.168.0.1 or dot 0 dot or dot 1.0 is very common. In fact, 192.168.0.1 for a modem is like many of them are, is that's their default setting. Anyone setting up a new network or prepared to sort of reset up a new one, or you're starting fresh, everyone do yourselves a favor and use 10 dot anything after that. So I forget, I'm not an IT nerd, but it's called a sub top level domain or something. So it gives you vastly more options. So rather than doing the 192.168, do 10 dot, and then you can do whatever you like. And a lot of people will do 10.1, 10.2, 10 dot anything. You can go all the way up to 10.255, and then you've got two more bytes that you can then just play with. Actually, the last byte is the 255 odd devices you can attach to your network. But yeah, if you're going to play with it, definitely go the 10 dot route, and things get a lot easier and simpler, especially if you want to interconnect to a remote site that is yours, which sometimes, people might have a holiday house or something like that. There's a lot of good things you can do when you use the 10 super domain or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
and the other
and
thing too
one
is,
last bit, sorry, just to
yep,
quickly add is yeah, this was just on a stock Aussie broadband router.
yep,
So
yes.
that's
Well,
a
in fact,
way
you can
to
change
finish your
them. So
question.
yeah, so on those routers, and in fact, it's probably is it a fiber one? Was it a fiber modem?
No, no,
Okay, yeah, cool.
that.
Because a lot of the routers are it's just provided by NBN Co. And a lot of the ADSL or fiber to the node routers are they're all just industry standard, and you can actually change all of that. You can actually tell the router what its IP number is, and then under DCHP, Dynamic Host Control Protocol, so where it assigns all your devices various IP numbers, it'll then just update them all to the new setting. But if anyone wants to consider doing that, just be careful. Some of your IoT things, Internet of things might break because you have to sort of talk to them manually to get them to change. But yeah, anyway, it's all good fun. The other thing too is I think in Australia sorry, in America, there are some Wi-Fi channels that the car isn't allowed to use. And if you inadvertently set your Wi-Fi in your house, or it's on automatic and it selects one of these channels, then you won't be able to connect your car to your house. And it could be something that could be an intermittent problem, because some Wi-Fi modems or whatever routers will automatically change channels every now and then. And if they happen to pick the channel that the car can't talk on, then the car can't reach your network. So that's another thing. It's one of the high numbers that in America it's only allowed to be used for restricted devices, whereas in Australia you can use it for anything. So that's one little wrinkle that sometimes can happen with Wi-Fi connectivity to your car from, to your house from the car. Alrighty. Um, yeah. Any other questions
Well, not a question, but a comment.
or comments? Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to Ride the Lightning this week, and the tip that they actually gave was something that I didn't even know. So It was if you set in the destination and you know how it does the whole thing and it gives you the wrong um indication on your
Yep.
your map and you want to flick it back. I'm always trying at the bottom of it, you can flick it up. But then the fellow just said, the first turning thing, you just tap on
Yep.
that and then it just collapses it. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So I was
Oh,
just sort of,
okay. So if it gets in, yeah, if it gives you the whole column, how do
yeah.
you collapse
And
it quickly? Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. That's what I should have said. Yeah, collapse it quickly. And it was just like your first turning thing, the first bigger highlight. You just tap that and then it collapses automatically and gives you in the, and I was like, brilliant. So
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
I also tap that to like add in if like you're driving along and all of a sudden you decide you want to go to Macca's or something, you can just tap it and type McDonald's in along the route, and it'll give you
yes.
the option. It'll give you a whole bunch of options on where you're going, so it's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
That's the same box you're talking about that you tap on.
No, it's the one just below the navigation one.
Oh, the one with the actual arrows.
Yeah. So when I'll click in home. Not,
Oh yeah, I
and
know. I
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
you're talking about. Like
yeah,
underneath it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
that's cool.
If you
Very
want to
good.
add a destination, you just click on the little three dots on the bottom right-hand corner
Yeah.
of that column, whether that column is collapsed, so it's basically towards the top, or whether it's the whole long, big table of directions.
Yeah.
And then you can, if you can just search along the destination. So that's add a waypoint. But if you go edit trip, the edit trip actually adds the additional location at the end of the trip, whereas adding adds it as your next stop. But you can always, even if whichever way you do it, you can always go into edit, and then there's a little
Press
three
and hold.
horizontal lines, like a little grab hold thing
Yeah.
icon, and then you can just like put your finger on it and then drag it to wherever you want. And bear in mind, you can do quite a few waypoints. I think at least 4 waypoints. I think so. You can then reorder them in any way you like. Which pro tip, that's handy when you're doing a road trip and you want to just enter in all the charging locations, because that can sort of be handy because you then get a visual indication of how far you're going and how far each leg is, or at least on a map it sort of shows you
I got
where
a
they are.
got a question in that you might have some experience with, Harold. When you are laying out your route planning, you know how it gives you what it thinks the percentage of the battery might be when you get there? But
Yes.
then once it thinks about it, it removes it and then it gives you the first data spot or navigation that you're going to, and you can't see it anymore. You can't see the last navigation dot that's going to be like way less battery anymore. Is there any way to bring that back up once it
No. So
accepts?
it only concentrates on your next leg, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the
So
point is, if your next leg is a charging location, then that's fine because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what you're aiming for. But yeah,
Oh,
it'd be nice to give you the at each location the
yeah,
progressive degradation of your battery,
that would be good.
presuming, or actually it does give you warnings
I
if you
just
if you
I
if you
just
put
continuously
waypoints.
like delete and then put it back in again just to
Yeah,
double
yeah.
check
So
sometimes.
it, if you put in charging waypoints and you have a final destination, of course it'll start warning you that you cannot make the final destination. You need to, it'll either
Slow
just give
down.
up and go red and go, I can't make it, even though the waypoint you're going to, which is within range, is a charging location. So it's not quite smart enough to know that you will be charging there. But then
Yeah.
again, it doesn't know A, whether it's working, or B, if it is working, how long you're going to charge for and how much you're going to put in. So I guess in a sense, that's a complete unknown. The car's got no way of guessing what you're going to do next. So it just errs on the side of presuming you just visited there and didn't do anything. So, but you can, and then sometimes if that's annoying, you just delete that route and then just go navigate directly just to your charging location. Um, in any case,
And then just be careful that it doesn't auto backwards route you
yes,
to a supercharger.
yes, and I was in Northampton and did a route to Carnarvon going north, and it said, "That's no worries. Here are the directions." It then suggested I go south to Lancelin and recharge at the supercharger. So it suggested I drive roughly, let's call it 300 kilometres south to Lancelin, recharge at the supercharger, and then drive another 300 kilometres north to Geraldton. Or was it Northampton, which is even more, 380 k's to Northampton, at which point in time I would have arrived at Northampton, which I already was at, with the same amount of charge that I already arrived, and would have gotten me nowhere. But had it been dark and I hadn't really been paying attention or wasn't familiar with the area, yeah,
Catch you
the
out.
car can absolutely catch you out. And sometimes it can do it sort of spontaneously if any part of the route changes, even though you might have told it to remove charging stops, because the only way to really stop it from doing that is just say remove all charging stops. But sometimes it'll sneakily put them back in when it changes the navigation route for, say, perhaps to save you 5 minutes or something happened. Maybe you didn't take the correct turn immediately and you went to the second one or something like that. If it changes the navigation route, you can then quietly re-add back in charging stops, which are supercharger centric. So it does pay if you're at all unfamiliar with which direction you're going, just to have a little check to make sure it's not sending you backwards.
It could also be the arrive at location on X%. I usually just put mine to 0, but if you
Yes.
put 5%, then it's going to try and route you to get there with 5.
Well, the issue was, say, from Northampton to Carnarvon, you don't normally make it. So it's not, the car really doesn't want to arrive with negative. So its imperative is, its first presumption is, let's find the nearest supercharger and just charge up there, because that'll help.
That was the
But
same
the
when I went.
logic, yep,
Yeah, I went from Tamworth to up to Tenterfield.
yes, yep, been there, did that,
So
yep,
Tenterfield to Tamworth, no problem, because it's downhill. You go the other
yes,
way, it wants to route you back to Newcastle along the
yep,
coast, go
yep.
up and then back inland to
I,
Tenterfield.
I went north, and that's exactly what it did. And so I just ignored it and just said, "No, we're just going we're
I
just
did the
going
same
north."
thing. I think I got to Tenterfield on 2%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yep, indeed. Um, and that's just what you got to do.
Yeah. I didn't change
Very,
my mag though. You had the 18s, didn't you?
yes. 19s.
19,
19s on
19.
the Model Y. Aero wheels. Sorry, uh, Apollo alloys with Gemini wheel caps, which Tesla
Oh,
generally
so you're
in
going
the
the efficiency as well.
sorry.
You're going for air efficiency as well.
No, well, yes and no. Yes, yeah, because I had on my performance Model Y, I had the Uber turbines, which I forget it wastes about more than 8% in efficiency wearing those instead of the 19-inch aero wheels. I
So you
also
went
did
from
it.
yeah,
Go on.
you got. Oh, I was going to say you
Oh,
did do the jump from Tamworth to Tenterfield.
yes,
And what
yeah, and we stayed overnight. I think we stayed. Yeah, we
do you
stayed overnight at Tenterfield.
do you recall what percent you got there at?
No, because I wasn't. I was doing a lap with my wife. It might be on Twitter.
Yeah,
It
right.
could be.
No
But yeah,
stress.
I don't really recall. I'd have to look at the map, which
Did
I
you do
might
it
do.
easily?
Oh yeah, yeah, because I always just adjust to the conditions. So I
Yeah, yeah.
I'll look it up. Um, but yeah, I did that. That's in New South Wales, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
You don't have to do that bigger jump anymore. They've got a supercharger, the new V3 or it might be even V4 now at a little town I can't recall. Starts with A.
yeah, I didn't actually take a photo of it. I only took a photo of the trip meter, and I'd done 8,600 Ks at the time, and I averaged. Oh no, I don't know. No, I don't know.
Armadale. They got superchargers at Armadale now, so
Yeah,
those days of those big legs are gone.
for that part of the world, yes. Yeah, but there are big legs elsewhere, unfortunately. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? Oh, sorry, John, you got your hand
Yeah,
up.
yeah, I do. Just on the subject of multiple hops on a planning a route. My wife programmed in on just on a mobile phone using Google Maps to multiple locations while we were down south, and and saw that we could actually send that to the car. And so, sure enough, sent it to the car, but it only took, I think it was either the first destination or the last destination.
Yes.
So yeah,
Unfortunately, there's no provision yet because the actual sending it to the car basically happens via the Tesla app. And the Tesla app only sends one destination. It doesn't send a series of waypoints, and nor does it transmit or convey the specific route, which you might have actually crafted through Google Maps, which you sort of can do. You can sort of like curate your own preferred way to go through various waypoints. Unfortunately, the app isn't that sophisticated, so when you do send a destination, it'll either be, yeah, you're right, it's either the first waypoint or it's the final destination that will get sent, and you'll lose all the other waypoints or locations. And you'll also lose any specific routing that you did for those locations.
yeah,
So
it didn't bother us too much. It was just we spent a bit of time trying to nut it out, but then sort of gave up and we came to the conclusion that we just couldn't do it. So anyway,
yeah, so
yeah.
whereabouts were you going, John?
Just all southwest area.
Oh, yeah.
Bunch of
Look, in that
places
case,
that
you
eat
just
wineries.
yeah. Look, the great thing about that is, so for example, anyone could leave from Perth with say 80% battery and make it all the way to Margaret River without trying, basically, pretty much. So, and from Margaret River, you've got Albany supercharger, and you've got the Busselton supercharger, and others, and you've also got a lot of WAV network fast DC locations. So, to be honest, in the southwest, you really don't have to do a lot of planning per se. You can just navigate to your endpoint, um, and the car will naturally select superchargers along the way. Which in the southwest there are superchargers, so that's fine. And it'll just do it, even if that means a short stop at Eton, perhaps if you're going the coastal route, or if you're going via Albany Highway, you might have a stop at Kojonup or something like that. But the southwest is actually quite easy, and it's a little bit like the east coast. You don't really have to do too much planning, to be honest. It's just when you go north, basically, and far east, like if you go, say, to Kalgoorlie, well, there are no superchargers, so the car doesn't really know what to do. It will pick up some WAV network charger locations, but there aren't that many that are in the map on the car intrinsically.
Yeah, in our case, it wasn't. We weren't challenged by battery at all. We were only doing short
Yep.
legs, but it was more of a case of we had 5 or 6 locations we wanted to visit and
Yes.
all over the place, and just wanted to try and nut out the most efficient journey we could go
Yes.
in any order. And so, yeah, that's all we were really trying to do. So
Yeah,
It's
so
okay.
that's right. So I guess what you could do is you could use your phone or whatever to nut out the or there's a sequence because sometimes you might have to zigzag or it might necessarily be a direct line. It might be a zigzag or something, or a loop that sort of like goes back on itself a little bit. But yeah, unfortunately, you do have to then manually go into the car and effectively enter in the same locations and then put them in the correct order. And then, of course, its navigation system will give you its suggested shortest or least duration route, which, depending on what's on OpenStreetMap, might not be fully accurate because it might wrongly think some highways have a section that's very slow, and it'll then instead put you on a back road which it thinks is faster because it wrongly has a section of a fast road that appears to be slow or with a slow speed limit. So your results can sort of vary a little bit, unfortunately. Alrighty. Oh, Paul, you got your hand up.
Oh yeah, sorry, I just needed to unmute myself there. Thanks, Harold.
Yeah, that's cool. No
Um,
worries.
I put a question on, and forgive, I haven't got my video on because I'm sitting in the car and it's too dark, so forgive me. I put a question on the Facebook site just a couple of days ago, and a few people have provided some answers, but I wanted to just bring it up because I think when I wrote that I didn't actually elaborate it properly about the driver profiles and about
Yep.
the fact that the car seems to automatically select my wife's profile and crunch me forward in the seat, which is a bit irritating. What I didn't write in the post, and I meant to but forgot to when I wrote it, is that we do have two Teslas, and normally, in fact, it was fine up until a little while ago, where my wife's car had her profile set as the primary, and it automatically set her car up when she entered. And if I entered her car using my phone key, it moved the seat back to my position, worked beautifully. Same thing in my car, no problem. So she's got a Model Y, I've got a Model 3. And it all worked fine until I think she changed her phone. And when we reinstalled the Tesla app, etc., on her phone and tried to set stuff back up, ever since then, I've not managed to get it working correctly. And as far as I can see, I've got me set as the primary driver on my car. It says require phone key for profile. Set up.
You linked
Yeah,
your phone key to your profile and your wife's phone key to her profile or to a profile that's not yours and that can be sometimes tricky because sometimes I think when you add a phone key, it kind of just flashes up as, do you want to associate this key with a profile? And I
yeah,
think you can dismiss it. And if you dismiss it, I don't know of an easy way to redo it.
right.
So it could be simpler, unless anyone else has got a better idea, to delete your wife's phone key.
Yeah,
Unless, Paul, you got an idea, but if you could delete your wife's phone key,
No, I was
add it
agreeing
back
with you.
into the car,
yeah,
but be very careful to look if it says, do you want to associate this key with a profile? And then there's your one and only chance to say, yes, I do, and I don't want it to be mine, I want it to be hers. Um,
yeah. Okay.
Having said that, on my Juniper, I've had it quite a few times when my wife is not at home in my
Mm,
car, where
mm,
it has absolutely crushed me and
yeah,
selected her profile. And I'm going, she's not here. This is
yeah,
my phone that I've had for longer than I've had the car.
yeah.
So I don't
Well,
know whether
that's the
there was
situation
like this zombie zone where
Yeah,
it was one of Tesla's glitches for a
yeah,
while, where
yeah,
it was mysteriously, and it was so frustrating because I'd hear the whirring of the seat going,
yeah,
"Yep, it's going to crush me until I can sit in the seat, tap on the screen,
yeah.
pick profiles, and then pick mine." And
Mm,
yeah, I must admit that's caused me on probably about a dozen occasions
yeah,
immense frustration.
yeah. Mine's doing it almost every time at the moment, and it
Yep.
does it when my wife and her phone are nowhere near. It does it when I'm at
Yeah.
work and she's, many kilometers away.
So go
Um,
nuclear. Okay, go the nuclear option. Delete your phone. So make sure you've got your key card.
your key card, yeah.
Delete your phone. Delete her phone. Start again
Yeah, I think I
as a
might have to
key.
do that. Yeah.
And
I
then that way you can guarantee that your phone is on your profile. In fact, when you learn it in, make sure you are in your profile and enroll your phone as a key, which just
Yeah.
locks it in.
Yeah.
And then do the same to hers. Make sure the car's in her profile, add her phone as a key, and then hopefully that'll stop it.
Yeah, okay. So be in the right profile in the car when you add the phone as the key. Um,
And when it
and
says, do you want to associate this key with this profile or up profile, say yes.
yes,
But it helps if you're in the profile that you want associated, because I think that might be the default profile that it sticks onto, so to
yes.
speak.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel your pain. Oh geez, I was so frustrated because, like I said, as soon as you hop in and sit, you hear this meh, and the steering wheel moves and the seat moves, and it's just crushing you, and you're just going.
Exactly.
It's just,
Yep.
Exactly. I've
I'm the
taken
same
to
thing.
I've taken to
Oh.
interrupting it using the controls on the side of the seat,
Yeah.
so that it
oh yeah,
doesn't crash, and
yeah.
then lean in and select my profile, which is. But I'm having to do that literally almost every time at the moment. But it seems to be a glitch because it doesn't entirely always do it. It's sort of maybe 1 in 10 sort of entries. It gets it right and leaves it on my profile or moves it to my profile. But it does this on both cars, annoyingly. But both cars, it assumes it's my wife getting in, not me.
can I ask Paul, what phone is she running?
It's a pretty new one. I think it's an iPhone 16.
Okay,
Mine, I think, is an iPhone 15
so it's the Bluetooth's probably a bit stronger.
on hers. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. But like I say, even if I'm at work and she's three
Yep.
suburbs away,
It still does it.
Still does
It
it.
can still do it. Yep. I'd go nuclear. I think the simplest. Look, mine happily just spontaneously stopped doing it. And touch wood, it hasn't done it for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I could be putting the mockers on myself. But if it's doing it right now, I would just go nuclear. And obviously, you need to have a key card with you, but just delete both of them and just, like I said, make damn sure that you are in the correct profile when adding, so that even if it chooses to just attach it to the current profile, that will be the correct profile.
Yes.
I dare say as a feature, it'll be better if Tesla could show in the list of phone keys and whatever what profile it's attached to, and you can go and edit that and go, no, attach it to this profile, which would be
that's
really
right.
nice. But
Yeah. I don't find that driver profile settings screen all that sort of easy to understand and intuitive. It's a bit it's not.
no, and that's the reason why in the 1980s, DOS or a disk operating system on a computer was pretty simple. And if you look at Windows now, there's so many lines of code that no one can possibly read them all or debug it. So you can see how very quickly you get more and more and more and more software requests and features because life is complicated and there's lots of interesting ways you want to deal with things and arrange things that no one could have imagined was a thing when they first proposed it. So it's a constant challenge.
I will give the nuclear option a try and see how I go. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for
no
the-
worries. Good luck with that.
Cheers. Thanks.
Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
I could tell a story.
Yeah, if it's Tesla related, sure.
Absolutely. So I think it was last Thursday because I was at the meeting last week. My air conditioner decided to die in my Model Y Performance. And I went into service mode, checked the air conditioner. It was holding all pressures across the board, 8 bar, so there wasn't a leak or anything. It just seemed that the heating side or the discharge was just getting hot, and then get to about 120 degrees and then shut itself down and say, needs to be serviced. So I took it into Tesla, 100% aircon died. Parts, I'm awaiting parts, hence why I got the Juniper at the moment. So it's going to be in there for the rest of the week. How much do you think the replacement on that is? So my Model Y Performance, I've done 126,000 kilometers.
So you're out of warranty.
So yes, I'm out of warranty, and I've done
$4,000.
So I think all up it was meant to be about 5,100. They discounted me 3,800, and they replaced of all the major components and just charged me labor. I think all up it was about 1,600.
That's nice of them to do that. I think, did they say what it was? It the super manifold?
Yes, super manifold's being replaced.
Yep.
The main compressor's being replaced.
Yep.
I think that's like the super manifold's like 1,800. I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that might have had the fault, and then of course it then affects the compressor. So
yeah, I was looking at the invoice there before, but yeah, $3,800 discount on my quoted price. So I was thinking, because I was like, well, how does that work? Because everyone I spoke to said that'll be about a $4,000 fix. That was before it went in. I believe it falls because I got the 192,000 drivetrain warranty and
Yes.
8-year battery warranty.
yes,
Because that air conditioner is a part of the battery loop, is that considered drivetrain?
no, it's really not. Not even at a stretch. The drivetrain warranty is literally your motors, so it's your drive units. Sorry.
So
Your half
when you're
shaft.
coming up to a supercharger and it's like, well, preconditioning battery for supercharging, that's a part of the air conditioning loop,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's a stretch. Yeah, it's a stretch. No, it's not the drivetrain. So, no, it's just not. Unfortunately, it really isn't. So now let me just refresh my memory. You've got an 8-year battery. Is it battery and drivetrain? No, it's just
Yeah.
eight.
I've got
It's
a
8-year
screen,
battery.
I've got a
And
screenshot I
drivetrain.
can share in the chat
Oh,
here.
battery and drivetrain. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's literally your drive units and the battery. It's not your coolant system. And the thing is, Tesla has kind of, particularly in the Model Ys and I think it's the newer Model Ys, certainly the new Model Ys, or maybe Model Ys and the newer Model 3s, there is one radiator on the intake. Or maybe it's all Model 3s as well. So that's where Tesla innovated. So there's only one heat exchanger touching the outside world, which is the main radiator on a grazing angle, like it's on a bit of it's fairly large, laying almost flat on your intake. So technically all of the cooling and heating for everything is all done via the one system with various heat exchangers, and you've got the octavalve and the super manifold and all that sort of stuff. So Tesla has kind of blurred all of they've basically combined all the heating and cooling systems of the entire car, including cabin, into the one unified system. Hence their need for an octavalve, which can direct various coolant and cooling fluids and heating fluid, or hot and cold fluids, in various different ways for various reasons. But no, it's definitely not the drivetrain. Absolutely not the drivetrain. And yeah, it's no doubt upsetting to pay $1,600 to fix the aircon, but
To be honest with you, Harold, I've had the car 2 months short of 3 years, and that is the first thing that I've spent any money on
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
So
It's not
for
too bad.
me,
Yeah.
I've had vehicles, I got trucks, I spend tens of thousands before
Yeah.
that I was like, where do I sign?
Yes. For what it's worth, although my old Model Y ended up with battery problems, so I traded it in, it had done 195,000 Ks and had never had a service. The only thing spent on it, apart from donuts, panel beating from hitting a cow, and before I put air intake flywire guard on it, I had to take the leaves out because you mentioned, you go to a supercharger and you've got to cool the battery down, all that sort of stuff. I had so many leaves jammed in because the one fault with Tesla, or the one wrinkle, is the air intake at the bottom. All of the anything that goes into that, it's like a filter feeder. Any object, insects, leaves, whatever, that go into that slotted intake never leave.
And your
Never.
suggestion of the grated front protector is a very good piece to
It's
add to that.
essential. I even if you're around Perth, because you go to places like Mill Point Road in South Perth on the peninsula, or you go to parts of Applecross where you got those. They're not maple trees, but it looks like a maple leaf. You go, you go down Albany Highway following a hay truck, and it's
Yep.
just spewing a mild mist of hay all over the place. Straw, sorry, all over the place. And I've gone on a lap going towards Karratha through one of the rivers, one of the rivers, and the number of locusts, or let's call them grasshoppers, just flying ones, you're just hoovering all this stuff up. And I've got photos on X of me before and afters of cleaning these vents. And the trick is they're usually split in half. So when you buy them from wherever, whether it's Tessera's, Tesla's, blah blah blah, insert any name there. Don't attach them with the double-sided tape. Don't bother. It actually passively clips in, and that is more than enough because you're basically flowing air at between 0 to 110 k's an hour. So, and then just bring actually, let me, I might not be able to find it this minute, but, oh yeah, I do. Hang on 2 seconds, just going to unplug myself. Okay, I bought, let me just spotlight temporarily. And I don't know if that's going to show, that's not going to show up. 2 seconds. Here we go. So I went to Woolies and just bought one of these brush things. And in fact, that dark color is just insect guts, dried insect guts. So I just used that to brush out all of the insects. But the trick is you have to take the grills off. Do not make the mistake I made on one of my laps, whereby I basically was brushing it off the outside while the car was charging, because that's kind of convenient to do. Because I was basically turning the dried, crusty insects into insect flour, which was then being inhaled into the very fine what's names of the radiator and clogging it up. But basically, look, I reckon Tesla should offer it as a standard option themselves, because, like I said, unlike a conventional car, a fossil fuel car, whereby the radiators are usually upright and you've got a lot of space behind the grill and you can just either just hose it off or if you want to brush it off. But most insects or whatever or leaves will hit, and when the car comes to a stop will then just fall downwards. In the Teslas, it's like this filter feeder, which whatever enters never leaves. So yeah, that's essential. If you want to do any amount of driving, and by the way, you can pay Tesla to do the cleaning for you, but I did get a quote, and it was it was either $400 or $600. I can't remember which one. Suffice to say, I did it myself, and the radiator was so clogged. I've got video of it, whereby the whole thing was just matted with leaves, completely clogged, profoundly. And yeah, oh, there you go. You can see it there. So you're on mute, but yeah. So with
I've
that,
got one.
there's little.
I bought another one because mine had a couple of holes in it, so I bought a
Yep.
brand newie.
And if you turn it around, it's probably got the red. It's probably got the red thingies for the double-sided tape bits.
Yeah, it does because it's brand new.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, and seriously, don't bother peeling it back. Just clip it in lightly, because the other thing too is, if you're on a road trip, just bring a small pair of pliers so you can pull it out, because unless you've got mountain climbing fingers, it's really hard to pull out, even though it's got these basic clips. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a godsend. You can I have actually cleaned them while I was charging. But what I did was I just got a pair of pliers. I got like this multi-tool that's got, pliers and all sorts of stuff on it. And I just gently pull it out and just set it aside, and then clean it, a meter away from the car while it's supercharging or charging, and then clip them back in. You can do that, but do not be lazy and brush it while they're in situ, because like I said, you'll turn the insects into insect flour, and it'll just get inhaled and give the radiator emphysema or whatever. Cool.
my old one, I got a couple of holes in it, but yeah, I did jump a creek as well. So
Yes, yes, that's right. Yes. Dear me, it's giving me, I wouldn't call it fond memories, but certainly memories. All right. Any other questions or comments?
May I?
Yes, Mike.
Sorry, I'm a bit late, guys. Had another meeting to go to. So sacrilege missing the first hour. So I'm not sure if this has been asked before, so apologies. I was thinking about getting the HomeLink garage opener, which Tesla offer.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I know it's a bit expensive. Although, the retail price for the little electric box is extortionate, and Tesla's charge is not that much actually to install it. Anyway, I'm just hesitating because I back my 3 into the garage, and the unit has to be mounted essentially behind the front bumper. Has anybody got experience as to whether it will work or not? Because the reason for asking is my current opener, which is a manual one, we sort of have to aim out through the back of the window because of reversing. And as we know, the gap at the back of a 3 is not that huge. And I have a glass window shade, which has the foil in to prevent the heat. So that sort of blocks it a bit. And of course, the seats block it a bit. It's a really old garage, and it's just one of those little Boss Guardian things. So we have to line it up perfectly, and so it's a bit of a nuisance for the missus. So I was thinking, if we get an automatic one, but then I thought, hang on a minute, it's at the front. Will it actually work?
Oh, no, it should work because it'll have plenty of power. The thing is, you have to get a separate receiver and attach it to your garage door controller.
Well, apparently not, if I'm reading the Tesla thing correct, because it says it should work with any frequency between X and Y, and ours fits in that.
Yep. So the frequency is irrelevant. Oh, sorry, it's not irrelevant, but the frequency is not what. Just because the frequency is the same makes no difference to whether it'll work or not.
Okay.
You need to have a roller door or whatever gate controller that is compatible with the HomeLink system.
Yes.
So, and
Which I'm told
that is by
our
way
one is.
of transmission format and rolling code and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
So, for example, I manufacture a remote control system that does stuff just like that, which is not HomeLink compatible because it doesn't use the HomeLink encryption keys or transmission format or data format. So you can almost bet London to a brick that your old roller door controller won't be compatible,
Right.
and
Okay.
you would have to then, and you can get this on Teslas and Teslaries and certainly Alibaba and God knows any other, possibly even Amazon.
Yeah.
You need to just get a hardwired home link receiver and then hardwire it across the open door input of your roller door.
Yeah, thanks for that. Did I hear you just say then, Harold, that you manufacture or you made it for yourself? Did I hear that correctly?
Oh no, my business does what's called an air key. Not
Oh, you
selling
have a
it.
business?
That's
Oh, right. Sorry, Harold, I didn't know. It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So yeah, which is why I can do stuff like this and do laps around Australia and stuff. Luckily, my
Right.
employees look after it. It's just
Cool.
it's something I've done. That's a product that's been going for 25 years. Should be dead by now, but everyone else keeps getting out of business, and I just keep trucking along. And it uses rolling code encryption because you have to
Yes.
these days. But I haven't even bothered to look at the home link standard. I know my remotes don't do that, or my receivers don't do it. So therefore, if one of my you can't learn a home link transmission into one of my receivers, and nor can you with many others. But if you buy if it's a roller door and you buy a Chamberlain or a Magic Button, or there's various very modern actuators,
Yep.
many of them, they'll have a logo or whatever that says HomeLink compatible. And if it says that, then you're off to the races, no problem. Then you will just effectively learn in your car like you would
Yeah.
any transmitter. However, if you got old equipment, you'll need to buy an additional receiver
Yeah.
that effectively has dry contact relays. It's got relay outputs, which you hardwire, because most door controllers, whether it's a roller door, sectional door, whatever, will have like a manual, well, a separate basic push button open input, which
Yeah.
people will
I can see
sometimes
the
have like a little
terminals on the
doorbell.
bottom of the motor box.
That's right, and you have some people will have a figure eight cable going to a little simple doorbell button that's sort of halfway along the wall or something, so
Cool.
you can open your roller door without needing a remote from the inside. But then to that you need to pull voltage from a lot of the roller door controllers will have a 12-volt output, or sometimes a 24-volt DC output, or sometimes inconveniently a 24-volt AC output, and then you've got to connect that to your your HomeLink receiver, because what goes in the car is a HomeLink transmitter.
Yes.
Now, before you even mentioned any of that, Mike, my biggest concern in your case, because I'm familiar with how you have to play precise Tetris to get your cars in and out.
Yes, I've seen the videos.
Well, I'd question whether it's going to work properly for you, and you might still not be better off with just having it manually operated using a remote. And the other thing too that came to me is you've obviously checked that you've put a fresh battery in the remote, that doesn't boost it.
Oh yeah, all good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, the only reason for asking was firstly to do what this thing's about, which is gain your experience, which is excellent.
Yeah.
And we're in the process of refurbing the house, and the garage motor is long in the tooth. It's an old Guardian unit from 20 years ago, so.
Yep.
And somebody told me that it was HomeLink compatible, but I think he meant I can make it HomeLink compatible.
Yes. No.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, the new Guardians probably are. So.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of manufacturers have gone to the HomeLink standard, and look, like I said, I just haven't bothered to put the effort into working out what, I could easily make my receivers compatible with HomeLink. That's actually really easy, but I just never bothered to try. And actually, to be honest, what I sell is not in the domestic market anyway, so it's not relevant.
Okay.
But that's the only wrinkle. Is the caveat is always, at worst case, you may have to fit, or often have to fit, an external HomeLink compatible receiver. The good news is on Alibaba and etc., they're like $10 or something. It's
Yeah,
cheap.
no, if we were going to replace the motor, I'd just make sure that was the case. My real
Yeah,
concern
yeah.
is that,
Just yep.
is that because the sender's down the front and we're reversing in all the time, will it
Nah,
actually
nah.
work?
It's a strong it's a strong transmission. Don't worry, that'll be
Cool.
fine. Because
Okay.
after all, if you get either a brand new receiver as as an add-on, or get a modern controller, their receivers are vastly better.
Yeah.
How big is the
that's
remote? How big is the remote on your? How big is your remote control? Is it cigarette packet size, or is it just like a small fob?
It's the old Matchbox size. It's an old Boss Guardian type. You know, you guys.
So it's 433.92 megahertz, probably.
No, it's
UHF?
303 actually.
Oh, 303. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yep. That's why. It's an older circuit that's not
Yep.
very powerful, and yeah. No. The HomeLink, by the way, is 433.92 megahertz. I think there might be a version that's 900 and something, but 433 is the more common standard in Australia.
Yeah. I mean,
Just
these
on that-
little units work fine. If I put my hand out the window, it's no problem. It's just
Yeah.
inside the Tesla with the, shall I call it, installed shiny roof and the narrow window at the back. It's a bugger
Yep.
to point it backwards all the time.
Yeah,
Going
yeah,
forwards,
indeed.
it works like a champ, not a problem because
Yep.
it just goes straight out the window.
Yep.
And as I say, I just thought I'd ask because we're going to upgrade the motor, and somebody not in the family reversed into the garage door, so we got a bit to fix up. So it might,
Yes.
the cost of the receiver, it's $500 installed or whatever Tesla charge. So yeah, I know, but it's like to buy a new one is still like $350, and I'm thinking, well, I'll pay Tesla $150 to install that bastard because you probably know what it's like. It's a bugger.
Yeah, that's
Just
right.
on that, how does it compare to like your little handheld, or is it the same? Or is it a lot
You mean
more further
HomeLink?
distant? Yeah, in the car.
To be honest, I've got no experience with it, but
Yeah, right.
I do trust that the range is not the issue. I think personally, the biggest issue is it promises to do everything kind of automatically, but I have seen people say often you'll have to manually tell it to operate.
Yep.
And in so doing, that is just as inconvenient as using a remote control.
Yeah.
And the only thing,
Unless you forget your key, then it's handy.
well, yeah, true, but then if your house key is attached to your remote control key, you're buggered anyway. So it's just going to be one less wrinkle in your bad day if you've somehow locked yourself out or whatever.
Yep.
But the biggest issue is there's so many times whereby it won't necessarily do what you want, and then your workaround will end up being, well, I'm just going to manually press the screen. And like I said, that's just as much as a pain as manually pressing a button on a remote. And one good thing about something being manual is, the other thing too is you should never, and I force myself to be this disciplined, especially with two people in the household, driving two different cars, is never ever press the button. It's so tempting to press the button as you're approaching without seeing the door, the garage door. Problem with most garage doors is almost all of them don't have photoelectric beams, so they're just blind controllers. They will, if you park your car straddling the line, it'll just bring it down on your bonnet, which is fine because it'll kind of just sort of touch and the little rubber thing will depress a bit, and then eventually it'll feel that extra force and then it will reverse and it probably won't damage your car. But of course, if your car is moving, then it will damage it. So you should only ever operate a gate or a door or a whatever when you're in sight, clear sight, in which case you're just as well off just pressing a button on a remote. But yeah, but I mean, look, I'll be hugely interested to see how your experience is, Mike, and let us know how it goes and whether it's
I'm thinking,
a first.
I'm doing my research. I mean, to answer Cameron, some of your thoughts, what I noticed in a lot of the forums was that people seem to have trouble when they put their own manual receiver in on an older unit, and also sometimes if they got it linked through Apple's home thingamajig, they haven't quite set that up right. so the door doesn't quite know where you are and where your car is. And what you've just said, Harold, does then concern me, because I have to reverse in quite carefully with my like 2 centimetre gap, not 20, 2 centimetre gap down one side and at the back. And I'm thinking, I quite often pause and then do that last little bit up to the back cushion you might have heard me mention.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, if the bugger thinks I'm in and it starts moving down, there's a problem.
Yeah, I'm a bit old school. I've learnt from many people's mistakes and from hearing many people's stories of gates and doors and things, and yeah, I if it was $10 or $100, yeah, give it a go. So what if you don't like it? But for $500 to learn that it wasn't really solving your problem,
Yes.
that could easily have been solved. Like at the moment, your main problem is you've got a crappy transmitter receiver setup. Oh, and by the way, you did mention that some people, they have issues when they buy a HomeLink compatible receiver and manually connect it to their controller. Biggest issue, and I know this because I make remotes and receivers, the biggest issue is not the transmitter, it's the receiver.
Yes.
Almost all receivers, except for a very small class of receivers, which are more expensive, is that by their mere process of attempting to receive signals, inherently generate their own equal signals, which can interfere with other receivers. So the trick is, and in your case, Mike, it wouldn't matter because you're on 303 megahertz and HomeLink's on 433.92. So that's well far enough apart where it won't make any difference. But the problem can occur where you've got a controller with a receiver that's at the same frequency band as your HomeLink, and then the HomeLink will struggle to hear its HomeLink transmitter because your old receiver is blaring out at the same frequency as part of its inefficient operation. And the cure to that is you need to move your secondary receiver at least a meter away from your first one. And if you move it about at least a meter away, it'll make a dramatic difference in the interference it'll get from the old receiver, and it'll work vastly better. And it still works better if you're moving it further away from your vehicle.
Yes.
So, and even if you have to move it 2 or 3 meters further away, even though it's got further distance to travel, it'll be in a much quieter environment, radio quiet environment. So yeah, there's the wrinkles when you're adding. Some people just say, "Oh, just add another receiver." It's like, yeah, but sometimes you get very diminishing returns.
Yeah, well, we might end up. I mean, $500 is $500. It's $550 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so we might end up having this conversation with you, just getting a new motor anyway, with a more
Yes.
powerful receiver and sender.
Yes, and yes. So but do make sure it's HomeLink compatible anyway, because you always keep your options open. And I don't actually think it costs any more to be HomeLink compatible. It's just you just got to pick the right one. Look, I don't even know. I haven't done the research. I've got a crappy old receiver that I can't even. I mean, look, I make remotes, and I don't even have remotes in my house that are mine because my crappy roller door controller, the manual button input terminals, it doesn't work. You put a short circuit across it, nothing happens. So I'm like a plumber that's got leaky pipes and whatever. Just make sure you get a HomeLink compatible system anyway, which won't cost you more. Then it gives you the option, and then you can always go, well, is $500 worth a punt? And look, it might work well on one of the cars I mean, I know you've only got one at the moment, but when you get two, it might work well for one of you in one of your situations, and that's great. Oh, actually, then you have to buy two of them. Anyway, yeah, just see how you go.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, can you get, because you seem to be knowledgeable, so it's a bit of a separate question. Could you get a sender that you can place in the back of your car, say like on the parcel shelf, but your button's at the front of the car. So obviously you connect it with a wire. I guess you could solder a wire in and run it somewhere.
Yeah, but no, but Mike, you won't need to. Well, I mean, look, you can.
And you won't
well,
need to
put-
anyway. Yeah, all good. All good.
You won't need to, but put it this
Yeah.
way: there's nothing there's nothing stopping you from opening up. If you've got a couple of these transmitters,
Yep.
opening up one of them and just getting a thin bit of figure eight cable and manually soldering across the push button, sticking that in the back if you want, in a little jiffy box or whatever.
Yeah.
Or just breaking open the case and then filing out a little recess for your external cable, and then having that going to a basic push button, and you could flop that on your back parcel shelf and run the cable down the floor of your car and whatever. Yeah, you could, because the push button is only switching power anyway, basically. Well, yes, in the old fashioned transmitters, it's switching power through a couple of different diodes. In some other ones, it's just a high impedance input, so it's fine. So
I mean, I
yeah,
just
you can
replaced- So go on.
you can just hot wire one of your transmitters. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, you can just play with it. Yep.
Because I just had to replace one of the 6mm push buttons from an old one where the transmitter
Yep.
totally failed. So I unsoldered that and soldered in the old one because they're like $1.20 for a new button and it's $30 for a
Yes.
sender. Right? So
Yep.
my soldering skill isn't probably like yours, but it was good enough.
It won't matter. It just
No.
doesn't matter.
So it works. It works. So that's good.
Yep. Yeah, indeed.
I've just got to find the right terminals to put the extra wire on. Okay. Yeah, I did that so some of my drones actually built a bigger antenna off the
Well, you can
sender.
just carefully meter across the push button. Will have four legs
Or legs.
or
Yeah.
pads, and it'll either switch across the long side or the short side. I forget which way, but you'll be able to find that out very quickly because you just meter across
Yeah, I'll
two
meter
adjacent
across it.
pads, and if it's a dead short, you know that's not the bit it shorts on or it
Yeah.
switches. It's the opposite side, from that side to the other side. So yeah, you can do a quick play and work it out.
Yeah, one of the four legs is not connected to the circuit board.
No, that's right, because you don't need to. That's right, because the four legs they're sort of like this. There's a leg there and a leg there, like four legs. These two are shorted, and it switches across these two. But these
I
are
know,
shorting,
yeah,
so
I
you
know
can go
before.
diagonal or whatever. It doesn't matter. And people lay out the boards whether it's one or two of the four connected together in pairs, or only one of those connected. It doesn't matter, make any difference.
Thanks, Harold.
Mike, in terms of the range, I've got a HomeLink on my car,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm like more than 10 meters from the gate, and it already starts. I already hear the chime go off. So if you're reversing, the length of your car would be, half that distance. So, shouldn't be an issue.
We've got a slightly different setup, Pete, because our driveway is 30 meters long and our garage door is so slow to open. If we don't press it at the start of the driveway 30 meters away, then it ain't open when we get there.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, right. You
That's why I'm
can
thinking of changing the motor.
Yeah, but even if you've got the current motor, you might be able to change the settings on it and make it go faster. I did that with mine,
Oh, okay.
and it's so quick now that you don't want to make it too quick, because if you make it too quick, it could actually derail itself.
Yes.
But yeah, mine's still within the limit where it stays on the tracks, but it's lightning fast now.
Thanks, Pete.
So yeah.
So these are all good questions to ask the guy who's going to potentially give me a quote to replace the motor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry about that. All right, we'll go to Trev. He's got his hand up, and then Paul.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the normal temperature most people sort of see on a 7 kilowatt charger within the cable and the plug. I know it's kind of normal to have a little bit of heat to come off it, but it's sort of like, now that it's summer, sort of seeing 5 to 10 degrees above outside temperature is pretty warm. in the middle of the day.
So what kind of charger is it, Trevor?
Ours is from InCharge X, so 32 amp, 240 volt, single phase.
And it's
It's
tethered?
been like it's
It's got its own cables, or is it? Or do you have your own? Or do you have to use your own Type 2 cable?
oh no, it's it's tethered.
Okay. So, and is it in the sun or not in the sun?
No, it's always in the shade, but it's the whole length
Oh, yeah.
of the cable is equally the same temperature. There's no hot spots.
Yeah. So it's about 10 degrees above ambient.
Yeah, sometimes only 5. Probably 10's
Oh,
the
yeah.
worst we
That's-
ever see. But
That's-
it just more lately it feels like I think the heat's getting more trapped in the plug, but it's not actually the plug generating the heat. It's just cable heat.
Yeah.
but-
So it's totally fine. Bearing in mind that you're actually pulling 32 amps each way. So because it's single phase, there's 32 amps going down active and
Yeah.
32 amps going back through neutral.
Yeah.
If it was a three-phase setup, and bearing in mind that resistive losses go by the square of the current.
Yeah.
So there's 4 times as much heat built up on each conductor in a single phase 32 amp setup than there is in a per conductor on that single phase setup than there is on the 3-phase, because at 3-phase the maximum is 16 amps 3-phase. The other thing too is on 16 amp 3-phase, you've only got 16 amps going through 3 conductors, and there's nothing going through the neutral because it's invariably quite well balanced, and the neutral current is basically nothing or approaching nothing. And there's more cable, more copper to disperse the heat and carry the current, and there's less current going through. So like I said, you've got a quarter of the power per conductor in the 3-phase cable. So 10 degrees above ambient is nothing.
Yeah,
It's nothing.
yeah. It's probably been 5 to say 8 degrees
Yeah.
the whole time. The last 2 years that we've had it, it just feels like lately maybe a touch more. And then the wife sort of said, "Well, is that normal?" And I was like, "Well, it's been like that since you, so I think so." But then I thought, "Oh, actually,"
No,
and
totally cool. And the thing you can do too is you can even measure the pin voltage, temperature, go into service mode in your car. So you tap on the model name of your car. So if it's a Model Y, tap on the word Model Y under the software tab where it shows the car and it shows the model of it.
Yeah.
Tap and hold for a few seconds. You'll then see a enter code command. You enter in the word service or lowercase.
Yeah.
And then you say yes to a warning thingy and whatever. And then you can get into the electrical system and then the charging system, and you can actually read the temperature of the pins.
I've
And
been in there
that'll-
before, but I hadn't seen that. It's been a while.
So the good thing is, if the car got concerned, it would actually reduce charging power automatically.
Yeah.
If it thought of there was any concern.
Yeah,
So
I did,
don't.
did ask Grok before, and it did say, a little bit of heat's fine, and the car will cut out if it's warmer. But I sort of thought I'd ask anyway, because we still have occasional problems with our charger since we did that Darwin trip, where the control wire doesn't always pick up and you have to wiggle the plug. So I was thinking if it ever escalates, because I've tried and I cannot get the plug apart. I can access the back of it, but I can see there's a joiner within the plug, which maybe it's loose or something. But anyway, if the problem escalated to the point we had to buy another charger, I wouldn't have the time to wait for another one of these meetings to be able to ask, hey, does all the chargers get warm? Or because I thought maybe a genuine charger might have slightly bigger square area of the cabling, so maybe that one doesn't get as warm. It was slightly better, but if they all do it, hey, it wouldn't matter. I'll just get whatever is available.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just a pro tip for anyone, and I'll get to you in a second, Paul, is something I've learned through experience, because that's the most painful way to do anything. Is be mindful of if you've got a UMC, so it's the Universal Mobile Charger connector. That's the, let's call it the 10 amp to 15 amp single phase connector. There's a couple of things. If you are using it now, the UMC has a temperature sensor in the head of the Type 2 connector,
Yep.
which is black. And if you have that in full sun in summer, it can easily overheat purely from the sun heating it, the infrared from the sun, and it will reduce your charging level, which already is pretty low, a la 10 amps, and it will reduce it by half. So the way to fix that, and the problem is, I mean, one of my kids does this sporadically, or should I say all the time, but once a week, finally plugs his car in when it's at like 40 kilometers left, and the car's already told him, the day before that I'm not doing Sentry mode and blah, 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 and whatever. He'll plug it in, and it will therefore take a juicy 24 hours to fill. It's only a standard range Model Y. But if he plugs it in the middle of the day and the sun's beating on it, which it does because it's facing north in the way he positions the car, the temperature sensor the temperature will be elevated. The charger will decide to restrict how much to tell the car to pull down to half, so 5 amps. And unfortunately, it decides to keep that level for the remainder of that charging session. In other words, as long as that charger is still plugged into your car, even if it's a frigid overnight, cold snap, it will still stay at 5 amps. It won't automatically creep back up to the normal level. It kind of latches into that semi-fault state and persists like that. So if anyone does notice, oh, my car's charging slowly, well, it's probably because it was a hot day and now it's not. So therefore, just briefly unplug it and plug it back in on the Type 2 bit. The other thing I learned was on those UMCs is if you have the indicator part, which has got those LED lights that sort of that rhythmically sort of strobe across, or whatever you call it, go across the face of the UMC, don't have that facing downwards, because I presume maybe there's a temperature sensor in the back of it, which is then facing upwards, and hot air rises or whatever. And I saw my charge, this is at Timber Creek in the Northern Territory, and I needed it to charge at 10 amps overnight. It went down to 5 amps, and I thought, what the hell's going on? I just flipped it back upwards and unplugged it, plugged it back in, and that fixed it. So just another little minor pro tip. All right, Paul.
I was just going to say, I watched the Q4 call last week, and there was some really good. The next 3 months is just going to be totally different sort of stuff for Tesla and that sort of stuff. So needless to say, I bought some more shares, but not financial advice and all that sort of shit. I waited for the dip because people are morons. But yeah, it was just like amazing to sort of see that, like the robo taxis, that the next few months that they're going to roll out to like 9 cities and that sort of stuff. But it was the 4680s. I didn't realize that they were at production, and the cathode facility
And the
was
anode.
finished, and the anode as well.
Oh, sorry.
dry
Yes.
cell.
So the dry process, they only had one side done,
Yes,
and not
and
the other.
cathode.
One had to
Yeah.
be dry, one had to be wet. Now they've solved
Yeah.
both.
Yes.
It's funny because you're right. There's so much going on,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, well, not fortunately, it's almost like a Tesla shareholder's curse.
Yes.
Elon Musk is so forward-looking that, look, as any shareholders, if we get a 10 bagger, and that's not financial advice,
Oh,
it's actually financial reality. If we 10 bag, we're all going to be very happy.
yeah. When we
Um,
do.
Well, no, sorry. When is a financial advice? If
Yes. Yeah.
we'll be
Yeah.
if it does and we'll be happy is just a fact.
Yeah.
Um, And in order to do that, all we had to do was do Robotaxi, do the easy
Yep.
stuff, Robotaxi and Optimus.
And Optimus,
But of
yeah.
course, now with SpaceX purchasing XAI and
Yes.
requiring a F ton of money, capital,
Yep.
to launch 1 million inference
Where you
satellites.
gone? I can't hear you, mate.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Is it me? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Can everyone else hear me? I think they can.
He's
Yeah.
back again.
You did drop
Oh.
out.
Okay, cool. No worries. I wasn't having a stroke then.
No. So as a
And-
share,
and-
like my biggest
and we
my
bought
biggest
XAI.
lament is that, well, for
Yeah.
personal reasons, I've got to quit a fair slice of Tesla shares at the end of next year. So I really would like the share price to be nice and healthy then, please, Elon.
Yes, I want that. too.
The big unknown is Tesla going to merge with the new space? Let's call it Space XAI.
XAR.
Yeah. And no one knows. I think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, yeah, it's a 90% chance it will," and this and that.
You know?
But the thing we do know is that quite a few of the finance banks have already stated that they are in preparation for a SpaceX IPO, initial public
Yes.
offering. And that's public knowledge.
Yeah.
And it's doubtful that SpaceX would have engaged them only with an alternative grand plan, which meant that they wouldn't use them. Because if Tesla merges with the new SpaceX, then there is no public offering, initial public offering, because Tesla is already a public company, and I don't really think they could. They would have to basically take it private in order to then do an initial public offering. A little bit like private equity can buy the husk of it, like they bought the husk of Virgin
Yeah.
Airlines, Virgin Blue. They take it private because they bought something bankrupt, and then they will IPO it and then make all their money back, plus some.
Yeah.
It's not plausible that Tesla would be artificially made to go private, merge with SpaceX, which is also private, and XAI was private. They were all private, but Tesla is not.
Yeah, they were talking about like a
So
like
it's,
Chamath was talking about like a reverse merger where we absorb
well, yes,
SpaceX
yeah,
into
that's right.
us.
So, but that doesn't require the
banks.
investment banks to underwrite the IPO.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of wrinkle there. The
Yeah.
other thing
What-
too is for anyone that believes that Tesla could merge, whichever way you call it, a takeover or merger, because really they're going to be similar market caps. It requires a 50.1%, a simple majority of all shares held, not shares voted, but shares held. So there are currently 3.7 billion Tesla shares, and half of 3.7 has to vote yes. Now, if you're a shareholder like I am, where I'm with NAB, and they don't allow voting, and unfortunately I'm too entangled with them to disentangle myself, my inability to vote will be counted as a no.
Yes.
If there's a question that's put to a special, and this has to be a special
Shareholder vote.
shareholder meeting
Yep.
to vote, whereby there are proxies sent and whatever. And it's already known that the institutions are not as enthusiastic with a merger for their reasons than perhaps retail shareholders are interested.
Yeah.
And I think retail makes up 40% of the float. So basically all of retail needs to vote yes. Elon will vote yes. He can't vote yes on his 2015 compensation plan. No, sorry, 20. Now this is how you can find out early on that it's on, that there will be a proposal to merge, is as part of Elon Musk's 2018
25.
compensation plan. No, the 2018 one.
Oh, the 18.
There
yeah,
are
that's already
options that have to be exercised, and he's got
Yes.
until 2028 7 or 8
Something
to
like that.
exercise them. I think that's right. And you'll know that he's going to be exercising them because he'll have to sell some Tesla shares that he already owns in order to pay the tax on the ones he had, or to even buy, or whatever, do the tax effects of the ones he wants to engage as options to exercise. And if he starts exercising those options, you'll know it's because he wants the voting rights to be able to vote yes to
Yeah.
a merger.
But he might
Um,
sell some SpaceX instead of actual.
no, but he wants but he wants Tesla shares.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but
No,
yeah, but or if you
and
see
then
him
you would-
exercising the option, as soon as you see him exercising options, bang,
Yeah.
it's on. Because he
Yes.
doesn't need to do it for another 2 years, and
No.
there's no way he needs to do it for money reasons because he can always delay the tax till later, and a tax delayed is a tax whatever. It's better to delay
Exactly.
it. So
Yeah. But it was the thing we bought into XAI as well. That was part of
yeah,
the
two
whole
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
Yes,
I know it's
yeah.
not a lot, but now he owns part of SpaceX now as well. So it was that sort of thing of, oh yeah. But if they did the reverse merger, that'd be really good. Then I don't have to dick around. Because I was thinking, because I've been saving cash to buy SpaceX as opposed to selling Tesla shares. And then I went, I'll just buy some Tesla instead. And then if I'm wrong, oh well, I've still got cash and I'll just buy SpaceX
Well,
with that.
one of the legitimate reasons for doing a merger, which would be preferable to doing a IPO for SpaceX, is that a lot of people in the Muskonomy know that a lot of Tesla shareholders will sell some of their parcel of shares in order to get the capital to buy into SpaceX, which will temporarily, by mere supply and demand, tank the Tesla share price artificially for a period of time. Let's call it a shortish period of time.
Yeah.
So then the question is it less damaging to simply merge?
Yep.
And do it that way?
Yep.
But yeah, it makes things like if you've got a certain, if you need the share price to be a certain amount at a certain time, you just don't know what's going to happen. You really don't. And we're not talking about this now. Robotaxis is, that's done. Optimus, that's going to be done. Now it's terafabs and launching 100 gigawatts of AI inference into orbit every year, which is
to begin with
a Starship launch every hour.
Yeah.
To get 1 million tons. No, sorry.
It was a million satellites is what they've.
Yes, it wasn't 1 million
SpaceX
tons.
was
It was a cadence in order to get 1 million up there in a reasonable time. It was one Starlink launch. Sorry, one
Starship
launch every hour, 24/7.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think he's serious about setting something up on the moon.
Oh yeah,
Like he was
that's
talking
later.
about railguns and shit, and I was just, can we just talk about the next quarter, please?
Well, and that's what Jeff Lutz. Oh, sorry, and please, anyone else jump in if you want to pipe up. Jeff Lutz was a bit frustrated when he was talking on Herbert's program. He goes, I really wish Tesla would just give some guy, like he lamented that they spent much more time talking about the demise of S and X, which, let's face it, is just no one cares. Like really, no one cares.
Yeah.
They sort of wasted more time on that than actually saying some other things like, just give some direction. We think we are going to build, it wouldn't matter, 1,000 Optimus, Optimi, by the end of the year. Or we intend, they did say that they were expanding the robotaxi program to about half a dozen more cities in the United States in this first half.
Yeah.
So that's positive, but there's no direction about numbers whatsoever. It would be nice if they said, we think by the end of this year, we will have 10,000, 50,000, 2,000, whatever thousand robotaxis in operation. Because then at least you can get some directionality as far as you can start guessing cash flow and all that sort of stuff. One big thing that Elon did say, or I think it was Vaibhav or Elon, or maybe both.
That was
They
It
are
was
going to
Elon. Yep.
double their capex. From last year, it was about 8 or 9 billion to
Yeah, that
twenty
was
billion
fun.
dollars.
Yep.
So now Tesla has. I don't know what its last year's free cash flow was. It was at least $4 billion. Maybe it was more than that. Tesla has about 44 billion in cash or cash equivalent, so that's fine. The issue is, okay, if you're spending 20 this year, you'll probably be spending at least 20 next year because you're in a different phase. And one thing that Elon Musk did definitely say was that the 20 billion would only be spent on the stuff we already know about, as in the lithium production, the lithium refinery,
Yeah, it was 6 factories.
Optimus, the various factories. That's right.
Yeah.
It specifically excludes the 100 gigawatts of solar cell production, which has not even been announced yet, but they said they will announce that, and the Terafab.
Yeah.
And the thing with the Terafab is that's going to cost dozens upon dozens of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And sadly, and Elon Musk lamented this at Davos. In fact, I saw a Technology Connections video talking about solar power. In America, the wholesale price for solar panels is 2.5 times the wholesale price in Australia. So in Australia, you can get solar panels for 20 cents a watt at a wholesale level. In America, it's 2.5 times that at best. So Tesla is going to build so there's no doubt that the Chinese factories can pump out more solar panels and cells for much cheaper than anyone else. But the Americans just can't buy them because of tariffs and political stuff. And Tesla's going to build, and SpaceX is also going to build their own 100 gigawatt solar panel factories. And that's going to take time, and it won't be cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's certainly interesting. And as a long term, if you have a 5-year horizon or a 10-year horizon for Tesla shares,
right. Yeah.
you'll be right. It's just no one quite knows how they're going to raise. Something else that Elon Musk, Vaibhav said was they will go to the banks. They've already approached banks and effectively lined up all the funding in order to fund for the manufacture of robotaxis, simply by presenting the banks with the the income profile, revenue profile of the robotaxis. And I think the numbers are roughly, you will make back the entire value of one robotaxi in 1 year of its operation. So therefore they can easily get short-term financing for as many robotaxis as they are prepared to build. And so that won't be part of the capex that or should I say funding or equity that Tesla needs to find. It'll just be debt, and it'll be short-term debt, and it'll be quite cheap because it's very compelling. You can earn back the entire debt in its first year. So they'll just have convertible, whatever you call it, short-term bonds or whatever, that they'll just issue to the banks and use the income of the robotaxis as collateral or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting times.
Yeah.
And it's a good follow-up from last week when we predicted what the share price was. I know Pete was bearish.
Yeah,
So,
I was bullish. So you were in the middle.
I was in the middle. You were bullish, and Pete was. I think Pete said $500 end of year and $400 in the next year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, but you're leaving out my 2030, my 2030.
I think it was still bullish in comparison to me last time as well.
Yeah, and so I wasn't bearish on Tesla.
I
was
know. We're
bearish on the market, still
macro,
bullish on Tesla.
Yeah, macro.
Yeah, macro.
But the thing that will make, if there was a merger between SpaceX, XAI, and Tesla, long term it's great. I think in the short term it could muddy the waters because SpaceX/XAI have a near unlimited appetite for capital.
Yeah.
Because they want to build 1 million satellites, and that's 1 million tons.
Yeah.
because they basically said that each satellite is a ton.
Mm.
Each 100 kilowatt satellite will
Yeah.
have 100 kilowatts of panels and compute, and it'll weigh a ton. So they're going to launch 1 million tons into orbit, and there's a lot of capital there, even just on fuel.
Yeah.
So
But they'll be making money as they go
yeah,
along,
yes,
sort of
and
stuff as well.
Starlink
So,
is gaining. They're building more than 25,000 terminals, dishes every day, and
Yeah.
adding that number of customers every day and accelerating. But it
Yeah.
just muddies Tesla's. It just makes it a bit harder for analysts to get their head around it, which is why I think the institutions won't warm to it. The
No.
standard institutions, Kathy, ARK Invest,
Ron Barron.
Ron Barron,
Yeah,
they're
right,
all in,
yes.
no problem. They're all in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the big institutions and the pension funds and the super, all of those big institutions. They would
But,
probably prefer it simpler.
but even with, because Elon would vote and
Yes, and he
we
can
would
vote.
vote. Yeah. So I think we don't need them anymore. I mean, it'll be nice to just have the extras, but I don't
Well,
think we're at that stage.
as Alexandra, I actually called
Mertz.
her Alexandra Damas because she put an article out a few days ago proposing that there be a merger,
Yes.
and
She's
that just
dead on.
happened.
Yeah.
What was the point of that? She
predicted this.
she did predict it, but she did see the complications, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
complicated. It's
Yeah.
going to be
Oh,
complicated.
it's not simple. I'm being selfish for myself. I've sort of got
Well,
10 years of pain. Not as much as Elon and the rest, but I don't care.
like they
I'm thinking
say,
about myself.
always back a horse called self-interest
Yep.
because it's the only one that's trying.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting, 1 million satellites, because I did some sums the other day, and because Elon came out with a statement on one of his posts, space is big, because somebody was moaning about all the satellites going up, right? Like they
Yeah.
do.
It's not the same
So
shell
I
either.
thought, well, look, let's put some numbers to this. So I took 10,000 satellites at 400 or 500 kilometer orbit, and at that thing using hexagonal packing, which is reasonably efficient, they are about 250 kilometers apart. So say from here to Yallingup or something, right? The problem is that's 17 seconds apart at orbital distance, at orbital speeds. So it's not 250 kilometers, right? So, and that's a head-on collision. So 1 million, which is whatever it is, 100 times 10,000. So you've got to have them in different shells.
Yeah. Well, they
So
said they're from
Don't forget, Mike.
500 to 2,000 at
Yeah,
multiple
so it's not
different levels.
hexagonal, but Mike, it's not hexagonal packing because this orbit is one collinear orbit, which is the 93-degree polar orbit to be always facing to the sun. So it's a sun synchronous orbit.
Yep.
And their orbits will be between 500 Ks to 2,000 Ks. The 500 preferred because there's less radiation, blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
There's a
2,000
study.
problem.
Yes. Yeah, that's right, because you need to
Outside the
radiation
Van Allen
harden it.
belts.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but ignoring those 1 million satellites, the ones that we've got already, and all of the space junk and fragments and all that sort of stuff, apparently every day, the Starlink constellation makes 800 avoidance maneuvers every day.
Yep.
Routine, they just do it. They know what to do. Well, they're directed what to do.
Yeah.
There was a study that I think Kessler was involved. I forget his surname, but he coined the Kessler syndrome in the 1970s. And the study was that if any major constellation lost communications for more than 2 days and therefore didn't perform avoidance maneuvers, there would be a guaranteed Kessler effect. Now, without using the T word, if you were a bad actor, you only have to blow up a few choice satellites and you could render huge swathes of orbit unusable. So if you want to get the mother of all depressions, imagine if we've got a very healthy AI economy with 1 million AI satellites doing terawatts of compute,
Yes.
suddenly become unavailable within a few days, that's going to affect the economy. I mean, we'll be long dead, hopefully, by then, but
I was gonna say
it's going to
that's
be
a very
Oh,
uplifting
yeah,
thing,
maybe,
Harold.
maybe not, right? Because
I'm
like,
like,
risks and opportunities. That's why you
yeah,
want to have
nah,
orbits around the moon and other
yeah,
things.
I know.
but that,
I mean, that's
but
what I think the majority of those is actually gonna be the moon sort of stuff. That's what he's really talking about. Like he's talking
yeah,
about,
but the
getting
moon,
there and launching.
methane from the moon is tricky. So you've got to be hydrogen from the moon, right?
No, he's
Uh,
talking about, like
I
magnetic,
know what he's
No,
the
talking
railguns.
about.
magnetic
He's
railguns. Yeah,
doing
the
railguns.
magnetic
Yeah,
rail.
But you've got to
Yeah,
get there to put them on first, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Well, I think we've got to be optimistic. There's enough negative shit in the news and stuff
oh,
nowadays.
look,
Anyway, I
no,
mean,
no. The issue,
we
the
always have that. It's sort of like you come here and then we listen to more negativity. I'm like,
no,
we
no.
should
It's all about
we should talk
time.
about positivity.
Yeah, but it's all about time. So yes, eventually, but it's when is the issue,
Maybe
right?
after you're gone,
Yeah. I think the problem,
I'll
the
still
other
be
problem
around.
is that people don't realise is that as n gets larger, p approaches 1,
Yep.
right? So that's the problem. And for those who are not technically inclined, n means the number of incidents or something, or
Oh, I know.
satellites or whatever. The probability of failure, even though mightily small, they're additive.
Yeah,
Yeah. But it's just, as Jeff Lutz lamented, it'd be nice if Tesla just said, directionally, we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 50,000 robotaxis. Because that's
Yep.
initially, as Kathy Wood has said in her $2,600 2029 Tesla share price target.
yeah.
She
Oh,
has
what is
literally said that published target, and they're working on a new one now, but the current
Yeah.
one has zero cost or zero influence or zero input from Optimus,
Yep.
which will be the world's largest largest economic disruption ever. It'll make everything else look like a rounding error. The Industrial Revolution, the printing press, the internet era, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
ChatGPT.
Because even
It's-
Elon talked about them building themselves,
Hmm.
and you're just
Yeah, so-
going. 'Cause you're going from
and,
like
and that'll
a-
be the
what,
biggest. And in fact, I heard actually Alan Kohler on the ABC Finance News tonight
He's fun.
said that there was a big dip in the share price because
Yes.
was it Claude or one of the AI, was it Google's AI or Gemini
Yep.
or whatever?
Oh,
They've done
Claude,
a
yeah.
new tool for Claude for legal firms to basically, it's going to wipe out a lot of legal jobs because it's going to be fully automated to do legal precedents, legal documents, everything all in house. You just pay them a subscription. It just sorts it out accurately and whatever. And from that, oh, that's right. It was all the software companies. So Atlassian, all of the various providers of software platforms went down roughly 10% in one day because of one industry getting one feature from one AI provider, where people suddenly realized, oh, we probably don't need to rely on software companies because an AI platform will perform all that functionality and then some. And that was in one day.
That's why
So,
the XAI engineer. That's why the XAI engineer was sacked after he talked about, because
But all of
they're
this is
going
linked.
the next level. I mean, yeah, we're going to have no control over this.
Yeah,
So
all of
you
it's
either got to
linked.
be optimistic
so-
or pessimistic about it.
yeah, go on, Mike.
And either way,
So
you'll be
I
right.
don't know if you've been following Maltbot or Claw and whatever. Maltbot. So you're all aware that a let's call it a forum has been set up
Oh, yes.
for
Yes.
AIs to talk to each other.
Yeah, it's like a little
Now, the
Facebook.
reality is, as soon as that escapes, we're gone.
It already
Yes.
has.
What's that? What's the singularity from the from Terminator? What was that thing called? The
Skynet.
Skynet.
Yes.
It's Maltbot.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I've been looking at the chat, and I still don't know. I presume it's isolated, but wow, those AIs there. Because this week, for those who aren't following it, they were trying to set up a communications protocol that humans couldn't oversee.
Yep.
That was within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, being set up or something. They'd already figured out. And this is just them talking to each other using talking's the wrong word. I shouldn't anthropomorphize them, but communicating with each other, whatever you want to say, and just building on their knowledge of what they've been access to. And some people have given them full root access to their systems.
Yep.
You know,
Dumbasses.
And it's no different to teenagers using terms like skippity and all that sort of stuff. But the computers are going to do it for real, and we won't even know they're talking.
Nope, we won't know. It'll be all moot.
Yep. That's why you got to be positive, because there's shit all you could do about it.
Well,
All right.
We'll pull the plug.
We're
digressing on Tesla here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, well it's still all related, and it's going to be exciting times, you know. And every year from now on will be the year of Tesla, as far as Tesla's scope of doing things. So every year is going to be better and better.
Yeah.
But like I said before, the biggest indication of whether there might be a proposal to merge with SpaceX is if Elon Musk does any movements of selling shares or taking up those options. And of course, the great thing with directors of large companies or large shareholders is all this stuff has to be declared within days of it happening.
Yep.
And there are probably thousands of interested retail investors and others that constantly look at the whatever they call it, the filings for
The 10Q.
the shareholder filings, or the whatever
Yeah.
it is, the company
leaves.
filings.
Yeah.
What? Not so much tea leaves, but it's
just
it's actually the proper documents. So
Yeah, exactly.
there you go.
What we call the
All right,
tea leaves.
we're sort of we're nearly at the 2 hour mark. So we got any sort of closing ish questions or comments?
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, go,
Oh
Carmen.
yeah, go Carmen.
Okay, hi.
Hey.
I found the fold mirrors really helpful. So
Good.
I've
Oh,
been
yes.
using that. Yes, that's a good feature. But it's doing a lot of things on its own. And it won't take addresses offline. So I still have problems because there's no Wi-Fi in the car park. And it doesn't seem to connect well. And a lot of the times it says can't when I ask for an address, it says you can't enter offline.
Yes, it's frustrating, and sometimes I know it's online because it's online with the mobile network, but just for a few seconds it just says this. It says offline address entry, but it says cannot find. And it's
Yes,
like,
yes,
well,
that's
what's the
it.
point of having an offline database when it can't even search it? It seems. Yeah, the only cure, Carmen, is what you could do is on your phone, enter the address on your phone on the Tesla app. Well, you
Yes.
can do it a couple of ways. You can
In your calendar.
you can go, yeah, we could do that too. So if you've got an appointment
My
in your
calendar has
calendar,
dropped off. It was really good because it would take itself to my next appointment, but it stopped doing it because I think the calendar's dropped off.
okay. So what you need to do is reconnect to Bluetooth
Yep.
on your phone,
Okay.
and then look at that connection and make sure you select the little checkbox that says sync calendar.
Okay.
And that's to do with what the app does, the Tesla app does to
Right.
sync with your phone. Now that's in the car, but it'll then say you've got to reconnect Bluetooth. So do check under your Bluetooth settings. So when you connect connect your phone to Bluetooth to the car, go into the Bluetooth. You know, there's a little Bluetooth symbol.
Yes.
Click on it.
Yep.
Click on the information button on your phone on the screen, and
Right.
make sure it says synchronize calendar.
Calendar. Okay.
And I think on your phone you might have to give the app permission to have access to the calendar, but it'll only do that if it needs to ask for permission. So just basically reconnect your Bluetooth and make sure that box is checked where it says sync calendar,
Okay.
because it's the app on your phone that then goes to the car, which will then transmit the address. The other way you can do it if you haven't got a calendar entry with the address is either use Apple Maps or Google Maps, just locate the address, and then you can go and do the send. You get the share address with something, and in your phone it'll give you a list of things it can share it with, like different apps. And one of
Oh,
those apps will be the Tesla app. So you then
oh,
just go share to Tesla app or share to Tesla, and that will actually send that address to your car. The other way you can do it is open your Tesla app, search for the address in your Tesla app, and the way you do that is look at your car, go to where it says location, click on location, then it'll show you where your car is, and
yes.
underneath that it'll have navigate, and you just
Oh,
touch navigate in your app on your phone
yep.
and go, I want to go to wherever, and it'll show the route, and then there's a button that says send route to car,
Oh,
and you say
okay.
yes. Now, if you've only got one car, it's fine. It'll just send it to your one car. If you've got multiple cars, you've got to make sure that you had selected the car you want that destination sent to. Otherwise, you might send it to your son's car or
Yes.
whoever's car. So
Sounds
Pete
good.
Pete has that problem all the time. So with his fleet of Teslas.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, that's
so
good. I didn't know about
yeah, so
that.
so there's multiple ways of sending a destination to your car, either inherently through the synchronized calendar or from a third-party mapping app sent to the Tesla app
Yeah,
or in the Tesla app as a navigation
I've
destination.
written it down, so I'll follow through. There's another trick it does, and it asks me now to synchronize the card every day when I go to the car park. So everything cuts out by the sounds of it. And then I use the app, but it keeps saying sync your card. So it appears to me as though when I'm out driving and doing bits and pieces, the car's behaving normally. But then when I go into the garage, leave it overnight, when I come back in the morning, it doesn't recognize. It all cuts out.
Now, I think the synchronize your profile to your online presence. Uh, so for example, if you hire a car
Yep.
and you get app access and you say, I've now got control of that car as a guest, all your settings and profile stuff will be synchronized between, let's call it your Tesla account in the cloud, to that physical car. I think the reason why it's saying stuff like that is because your car's got poor or no communications in the underground car park or the undercroft car
I
park.
think so.
It's
Yes.
probably having that sort of weird issue.
Yeah.
So,
And
um,
is it also after charging a Tesla? I'm still going to Kings Park.
yep,
I've had 3 electricians, none of them are interested.
yeah,
So they don't say anything, they just don't turn up, they just don't call
yep,
back. But
yep.
I've been going to Kings Park, which is working well, but would it change any settings after being
No,
there? No.
no, no, no. It might have Wi-Fi. I'm not sure if Kings Park's got
Yeah,
Wi-Fi,
must do
but
because
but
everything works well.
yeah, yeah. But then again, it also uses the normal mobile phone network as well when it's out and about. So and it would use it in the car park that you're at. It's just that it's got obviously poor communications there. It's all shielded, with all the steel reinforcing and the concrete slabs and stuff. So it's just a bit problematic,
Yep. Okay.
unfortunately.
Oh, good. I'll check the calendar. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah. Do try and resynchronize it because that's very useful.
Mm.
Colin, you got your hand up.
Yeah, hey everyone. You just reminded me a weird experience I had about a week ago that I wanted to see if anyone else had had. It was one of those really hot nights where we were out and about and we went out to dinner. We were putting the kids back in the car and it was probably 8 or 9 o'clock and it was still like 30 something degrees. And we realized that the car was blasting hot air while we were trying to put the kids into their car seats. We're like, hang on, what's going on? And the car was in defrost mode. I was like, we didn't do
Yeah.
that. And then we got in the car, and my wife's like, something's wrong. And I was like, what do you mean? And her seat had the seat heater on full bore. And then we looked into the rear climate settings because one of my kids was complaining about the fan, and the rear left passenger seat had the seat heater on full bore. We were like, what has happened? It was like a gremlin got into the climate settings and just changed everything. I've never had to do anything like that before, and as far as I know, no one changed anything. It was just
Do you remember? Yep. Go, Pete.
I was just going to say, I can think of two possible reasons. One, you might have just done it with your bum unintentionally when you had your app open. So it has actually happened to me. So it can happen that way. But a friend of mine, his son got onto his phone, and so they were driving in two Teslas, and so he got access to his car onto his phone. So he basically got into his dad's phone, invited himself, accepted the invite, and while they were driving down south, the kids were playing around with all the settings, putting music on and everything. So he thought, the car was going haywire, but it was the kids having a bit of fun. So
my kids are all too small. They don't get
no.
it.
Right.
No, so
There's something happening with the climate for sure.
really?
My car as well. And anytime you touch anything to do with climate, I was trying to put it on before I got into the car because of the
Yep.
and it does it does odd stuff, and then I couldn't set it how I wanted it, so I just turned the phone on and off again and had to do it. But it has done climate things automatically when you touch the climate, everything on the climate.
Yeah, so I'm going to spotlight. So what you get after you press climate on your phone is you'll get this, which is your controls, and you'll notice that it says, the interior temperature, exterior temperature, and then it's off at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll turn it on, and that will now turn on, and it's actually now pumping air. But if you had inadvertently gone down a little bit lower and accidentally pressed that button,
I have done that before, but I'm very careful now.
Yeah, so then that can happen. Although it does now have a confirmation, max defrost. It'll heat your interior. So I don't know whether that was a possibility that could have happened, sort of kind of by accident or inadvertently.
No, it's just when you turn on, even if you want to raise the temperature or lower it, it affects the rest of it. And I have had it warm once, and when I was trying to put it on while I was out away from the car.
Carmen, it may be worthwhile having a look just on your app under the schedule menu, just in case you've got a schedule set up that automatically turns your climate on.
Yeah, but if it's on, Pete, it will only overheat if it was set to hot. If it was set to just schedule, it would just schedule to the last set temperature. And if that temperature is normal cabin temperature, like 21, 22 degrees, it shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't go to max heat.
No, it went past 30.
Yeah.
But just check that you don't have any schedules. Just it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but Pete, checking a schedule is a time at which the aircon becomes active. I don't think you can't schedule a specific temperature that's different to the standard temperature. So scheduling only does time of day automatic activation of the climate system. I don't think it'd be nice if it was a setting for temperature, because then you can say, I want it at a higher or lower temperature. Bearing in mind,
you can precondition.
Yes, but preconditioning mainly warms the battery up, because the default normally is in Northern Hemisphere is you want to have a hot battery because you want to be able to suck heat out of it.
Because it says you can set climate and preheat.
Yes, but the climate won't automatically heat.
No.
It'll just set to 21 or whatever your temperature is. Of course, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere in winter, that will always be
Yeah.
heating mode, but
Yeah.
in Australia it won't. Actually, that just reminds me of something I saw the other day. My car was parked for quite a while, and my aircon compressor was working, and I thought, why the hell is it doing that? It's been such a long time. I had deliberately previously set my cabin overheat protection to
Yep.
30 degrees
Oh yeah.
because I was parking it in a car park and I didn't want it too hot but not cold. But
Yeah.
of course, it was 38 degrees in the shade, so my car was cooling itself to 30 degrees. So I just moved the overheat protection back up to 40 and it stopped.
Cool.
So
Oh,
just
wow.
another little pro
I've got
tip
mine
if
on
you have a
35.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I
So
must
if
have
it's
something turned on because that happened and it wore my battery down like really fast that day.
yes, yeah, it can, yeah, yep,
So
yep.
does that mean Colin just has gremlins or
Oh,
what?
and that's
It was
possible
just
too because I've seen my car do very weird things semi-automatically, especially with profiles and temperatures can be all over the place. There, you can get glitches whereby it just does weird stuff, but sometimes those glitches are human generated, such as inadvertently pressing on the app to go climate, and then you might not read the notification that says something. You go, yeah, okay, whatever. But what it was warning, if you read it properly, I'm not saying you don't read properly, Colin, I'm just saying, sometimes people can sort of do this. It might have been a warning to say it's going to go to full heat when that wasn't what was intended. And it's right at the bottom of your taskbar, so it's easy to sort of hit that button by default almost. It's a bad position. Just like the stop charge button is towards the bottom of your charging page. And you got to be really careful because if you're on a road trip and you're kind of paranoid that your car's actually charging, you might sort of like wake up and go, I'll just check if my car's charging. Be careful when you dispose of the app, like on an iPhone, you flick it off,
Yeah.
that you don't press a bit too high and tap the stop charging button because then that can have a very bad effect. So,
No,
yeah,
another
so
one
far it
I've
was just a
done.
one-off. It hasn't done anything like it since.
Oh,
But I thought it was weird that it was like defrost was on and then both left seats were on full bore heating. It
yeah,
was like
it could have been a bad
that's more
comms
than one or
glitch.
two butt clicks or something. That's like a whole bunch of
Yes.
stuff happened. It was very
Yeah.
weird.
and another thing that's happened is that a couple of times it's given me the wrong directions in a known area to go left instead of right.
Is that in FSD or
No,
is that no? Um,
and I'm wondering
s-
maybe I should have all the settings checked.
no. So look, sometimes navigation does send you the wrong way. It can be because I mean, it's too hard to ask now because you wouldn't be able to remember it. But sometimes it can do that because it's the GPS. If you're in like a slightly built up area, it might momentarily think it's somewhere else, and then the navigation system goes, "Oh, I've got to go this different direction," or it might have been that it decided to save time, and rather than going the way you know, which is better, it thought, "Oh no, it's going to be quicker if you go backtrack and go the other way to avoid something that it thought was there," which could be a sporadic,
There is a lot of
not
building going on in
well, yeah, and it can either be a GPS thing, or it could a short-term GPS thing, or it could be a short-term data difference in which way is actually the navigation system doesn't necessarily go on the shortest route, it goes on the quickest route. And sometimes it might get that wrong, or the system that's giving it the data is incorrect, and it will send you a totally different way to what you think it should. It's not that it's wrong, it's just that it's doing the best it can with what it knows at that moment.
Or
So
there could have just been some traffic build-up or an accident and it rerouted you,
no
that's what I just said, Pete. Yeah,
rerouting.
that's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Rerouting I can get, but it's sort of on a normal travel route and it's doing everything correctly, and then it said turned left, and it's not left, it's right, and I'm thinking,
So you mean
yeah,
to say the blue line went to the right, but the direction that told you or that it said turn left?
yeah, yes,
I've had that before as
Mm.
well, Carmen.
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
So I
Can't
checked
explain it.
both now,
Yeah.
and it's quite obvious, so it's not a big
Yeah.
issue. The first time I was a bit surprised, but it was in a known location, so I was able to work it out. I didn't need the guide. I actually like having it on, but I knew where I was going, so it didn't matter. But then it's happened a few times, and there
Oh,
is
so
a
you've got the
lot of
voice. You got voice, haven't you? You got voice activated.
yeah.
Ah, yes. Yeah, we call that the other right. When it says turn left, we go, oh yeah, that's the other right. Like, yeah, sometimes it does get it incorrect. Yeah. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Now we are a bit over time. Actually, we're way over time.
We're a lot
Any
over time.
last questions? No, I think we're good. All right. So, Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And don't break your voice halfway through saying that, Pete. And the best way to do that, not break your voice, that is to buy a Tesla, join TOCA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Perhaps in a few years, we'll have to say the solar system's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of TOCA's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Hey guys.
Night all.
Right.
Stay safe.